What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
Well, it's the big show. I'm Jem.
Yeah. This is our Raw analysis. Hashtag Raw Anal. Be careful where you use that. This comes at you every Thursday morning on your podcast services at 8 a.m. YouTube's 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Time, daylight savings or not, that's where it takes place. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to our social medias. That's facebook.com/groups/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, all those links are in the description below. But you can join the conversation as it happens. We record this show live on Twitch, twitch.tv/thepopculturist, on a Wednesday night. If you want to get that Raw chats, 8 p.m. If you want to get the SmackDown chats, that's a Monday at 8 p.m. because the next show comes on Tuesday. But we also stream games here every Thursday night, 8 p.m. But if you want to support us financially, head over to patreon.com/thepopculturist. Support us at any dollar value there. There's no real rewards right now. We just took the one reward away. That's this. So if you want to, you don't have to. But if you want to support us in a more once-off fashion, head over to popculturist.com/shopping, buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. And I've been informed that there is currently a sale on. Get yourself 35% off assorted Pop Culturist merch. Some wrestling-themed ones in there as well. I need to do some more designs. I haven't updated that store in a very long time. But anyway, Jem, how are you?
I'm good. I'm
thirsty after that fucking spiel, I'm just saying.
I'm not long home from an adventure out to Mount Macedon. Did get caught in the storm, so I'm a bit like drowned rat, bit messy hair and stuff. But other than that, I'm real peachy, man. How are you going? I'm
well, but I'm also pissed.
Oh?
The problem that I'm facing, and this is the problem that I've faced many, many times. Now, because I try to be a correct wrestling viewer, so I have Foxtel. I have Foxtel Now, or what used to be Foxtel Go, and that's how I watch my Foxtel. Now, I didn't pay for it. My dad got it free with his internet, so I totally use it. However, every time I go to watch the wrestling, not went live because...
It seems to be Raw specifically, too.
It's Raw specifically because I could obviously watch SmackDown live on Saturdays. I watch it with my kid, and it's all lovely. But Raw, I can't watch on the Tuesday because I'm at work. So I then have to rely on it coming out that night. So I can watch it Tuesday so that I can be ready for this show today on a Wednesday, recording Thursday to go up. It didn't until I was literally driving home. So I had about 2 hours to watch 3 hours worth of wrestling. I skipped all the ads because ads are the worst. So I was able to bring it down. However, I've not seen the last half hour of Raw, so let's put that out there now, just a disclosure, because fucking Foxtel. If you want to do hashtag Raw Anal, do hashtag fuck Foxtel, is all I'm saying. If you got exclusive rights, be better about it. Just get out there. Other than that, I'm pretty sweet. I'm not as mad. I've been mad, way more mad about Foxtel before. And I'm probably going to get mad about Jerry Lawler again tonight. So
Yeah.
All right, let's kick things off the exact way that Raw did. Let's have a look at this Randy Orton, AJ Styles storyline. Let's see where this is going. So things kicked off, and this is probably like the fourth or fifth time they've really faced each other at this stage. Now, this wasn't a scheduled match. They just kind of got up at each other's shit in the ring.
Well, apparently it was a scheduled match between Randy Orton and AJ Styles, which changed.
Yeah, it's very fair. But the thing here is, look, this is a continuing thing, and I'm really enjoying it personally. I think Randy Orton's fantastic. We know you love Randy Orton, and AJ Styles is still pretty good. I do like this to and fro that they're going. I'm not quite sure what they're bickering over anymore. It just feels like it's almost like one of those fights that you kind of forgot what the meaning was at the start, and it's just still kind of happening for some reason.
I think it's kind of like a superiority complex. Like AJ thinks he's bigger than Randy. Randy thinks he's bigger than AJ type thing. So Definitely feels like that. It's good because it's not something we see every single week. Like we see them like, you know, throwing banter at each other, but they're not throwing fists every week. That I remember.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. So what they did, like, beef, was it last week or week before? I can't quite remember.
Might have been last week.
Where AJ
threw the RKO.
did a sweet RKO on Randy, and
that
that kind of blew my mind a little bit. That was pretty impressive. So we did see a bit of that here today. So it's kind of that mocking, right? I think they're kind of trying to solidify the point of whose finisher is better. Like, is it the Styles Clash? Is it the forearm? Or is it the RKO?
Yeah. I mean, Randy Orton slammed AJ Styles with a Styles Clash tonight. And that was
absolutely
really
stunning. My child's about to break in, and I'm pretty sure he just had a shower, so he may be naked. So Twitch terms of service, we're fucked. All right, it's No, I think we're good. And Champion Gamer's in here as well. He says Champion Gamer 316 in the chat.
Because the Champion Gamer said so.
And that's the bottom line. Yeah, so look, I'm really enjoying this. So this kind of, they had a bit of to and fro, they had a bit of an argument, and then they're all, because that's the thing right now with Royal Rumble about a week away. It's everyone's just yelling about getting in, eliminating everybody, etc., etc. One thing that's kind of bugging me, they're like, well, do you reckon these people can eliminate 29 competitors? No, the only person to eliminate 29 competitors could possibly be Brock Lesnar, because they're going to come in other spots, is all I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So they're kind of having this, like, essentially dick measuring contest about whose finisher is better. Then good friend Drew McIntyre makes his way in.
Drew McIntyre with the My Claymore kicks bigger. Fuck, kill me.
D comes in, sparring words as well, and he's like, you know what, no, fuck this noise. Let's have a triple threat match. So what do you think? Like I said, because this doesn't really fit in its own story, but it's still worth talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand how Drew McIntyre fits into this fold. I guess for him at the moment, it's a case of, like, making his presence known and making it known that he's there and he is a force to reckon with. I'm all about it.
Might need to bring that mic a little closer to your face, please, Jen.
Yeah.
You're just a little bit quiet.
Can do. Bear with me just a second. There's going to be a bit of noise here.
That's all right. Well, I'll jump in. So I think what this can do that is awesome, that is different, is that where it's showing that Drew McIntyre has the ability to wreck to, like, big dudes like Randy Orton, 100,000 years in the WWE. The door is open. Kid has pajamas on. Yes. Yeah, so he's shown that he can take out Randy Orton, one of the biggest names in the biz. He can take on AJ Styles, you know, huge in Japan, huge here. And we see that by Drew getting the win here. It just shows how much of an unstoppable force he is and how
much
he should win the Rumble.
Too. He's an opportunist as well because, you know, he picked that timing perfectly. Like, he couldn't have set that up himself. Like, that was just perfect timing on his behalf because he was taken out, and then at the last minute he's just there and he steals the win, and it was perfect.
I personally, as it stands, because he was also my pick last year to win the Rumble, and I put him as my pick again this year. I think he will. I do want him to take it because I think he needs the push, man. Drew McIntyre has been, you know, it was put to the side by an injury for a while, and that sucks, but he's back, and I want him to kick face.
He does make a valid point in that he hasn't been in the title picture yet. And it's definitely about time that he is, and I guess this is the only way for him to do it now. It's not something that, he's been fighting for it for so long, and it just hasn't happened, so this is his way to, like, guarantee that he'll get that shot.
Well, yeah, pretty much. So, like, yeah. So, like, I said that's that opportunity. But, like, in the chat, Champion Gamer says Andrew McDaddy. Oh, I like that one. McDaddy Ty. I like that one. Is getting over with the crowd with the countdown. He's going to win the title as a face. So this is interesting. So Drew, yes, buddy.
That's true.
No, that's Daddy's drink bottle, mate. You have to get your own one. Sorry, my kid's demanding my drink bottle. So this is the interesting thing. So Drew McIntyre has always been a bad guy. He's pretty much well. If you go back to like 3MB and stuff, that's a bit different. But like as his current iteration, he's always been that bad guy. So there was a little bit of face in him today, and I see there's a lot of talking to the crowd and being kind to the crowd and being like, trying to give them what they want.
Yeah,
so
he did say something about Kentucky and they lost their shit. So
do you think this is it? Do you think this is the time that McIntyre turns?
I definitely think so. I mean, we're seeing the whole shift with Seth Rollins now. I think somebody needs to step into that. You know, there's a void there. And I think Drew McIntyre could definitely be the person to fill that void.
Because there is an abundance of heels in the WWE. There's not as many faces, let alone faces that they can write well. But this could be something. And now, with someone like Brock Lesnar as the current champion, who is essentially a heel, a bad guy, it's more interesting to have a face against him, right? So maybe this could be a sign that Drew understands that he needs to change in order to get into that position.
Definitely, you have to adapt. You have to grow, and I guess this is him adapting and growing, and maybe he's finally filling the shoes that he's supposed to be in. It's
very possible. It is very, very possible. The Mild Show in the chat jumps in and goes, ponder this, Drew and Kevin teaming up.
That is an interesting concept. I like it.
I do like it. I like the idea. But Kevin's currently teamed up with another exception gentleman. And although that would be an incredible segue, I'm not going to use it because I want to talk about that last. Let's jump in to let's get this out.
What about our friend Brock Lesnar, seeing as we were speaking about?
Yeah, we'll go big Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar, as we mentioned, this is the first show back for the year. Over the break, it was announced that he would be joining the Royal Rumble. He'll be joining it in the number 1 position, which is they're saying this is the first time and unprecedented. Apparently Roman Reigns did it like a couple of years ago, so that was pretty interesting. So the idea is that no one is capable, no one is at the right level to take him on at Rumble. So he's just entering the Rumble. Before we jump into what happened this week, what's your thoughts on that, Jem?
Well, this is one thing I want to know. Like, what is the benefit in this? Like, say Brock Lesnar does walk out the champion. All that does is he keeps his championship and he's got no contenders. Like,
Just punching things.
Just breaking my setup. It makes sense, don't get me wrong. It makes a lot of sense, and I can understand why he's doing it, because say he can get through these 29 men and he does come out the winner. He's sitting pretty. He doesn't have to worry about anybody. He doesn't have to worry about anybody coming for his title or, picking their own opportunity to take him. He's good till, I guess, Money in the Bank when somebody takes that. And who knows, he might even put himself in Money in the Bank. He's
already done it.
I mean, it's a really good game plan by Brock Lesnar. Do I think it was facilitated by Brock himself? Definitely not. I think Paul Heyman has a say in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I'm really interested to see how it's going to go. I don't know.
Before I jump into my thoughts on it, Steven in the chat has jumped in and said essentially that Brock Lesnar gets to pick his opponent at Mania if he wins.
Interesting.
So that would be an interesting way to sort of be like, you know what, that guy.
Yeah.
See, but like I that's how I'm seeing this, but in a different angle. I'm seeing it as the other guy. I'm saying this is the time for people to step up and give it that shot, because rather than, quote unquote, having to earn the shot, this gives the opportunity to straight up everyone. Like,
yeah,
because there's all those things you got to to be in the championship match correctly. You've got to win X amount of matches to get into a position to sort of take on that, right? Why do all that extra effort, all that extra kerfuffle, when it can just come in and just over the rope him, right? Just yeet him out of the ring, as the young kids probably would say. And then that goes, and Brock's like, nah, that's it, you. Like, and it could be anyone. Because as we know, the Royal Rumble is made up of 10 Raw, 10 SmackDown, 10 NXT. So imagine.
I didn't know that.
Sorry, I was announced at the break. Imagine Matt Riddle fucking just picks Brock up and just
No.
Keith Lee picks
Lee
up
is
Brock
gonna do it.
Lesnar and
The fact
throws
that
him
NXT
out.
is in, right now, I'm telling you, Keith Lee's going to be the one that's going to take it then.
You know what? Just because it's
Keith
going to
Lee.
be fun, Damian Priest, he fucking arrows that Brock Lesnar over the rope. Pew! There he is, everyone out of there. I don't know.
No, 100%. Now that I know that NXT is involved, I reckon Keith Lee is gonna end up in that title picture. Whether it comes down to like him actually giving Brock a run for his money, Brock throwing him out, but Brock deeming him worthy to come after Brock.
Yeah.
Some way or another, I'm 100% behind Keith Lee.
I think we'll see some Keith Lee, Roman Reigns again. Knowing that, seeing what happened over at Survivor Series with that beautiful spirit bomb that just blew apart Roman Reigns. But sadly didn't get the win. So if anything, what if we ended with Roman, Brock, and Keith Lee, the final three? I would just pee my pants. Because that's Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. That's... Oh.
Yeah.
But what happened this week? What happened with the Brock Lesnar this week, Jem?
So mid-conversation, Paul Heyman's blah, blah, blahing, and he drops the word truth. And then R-Truth is like, I'm glad you called me out here, Paul Heyman, and comes running down to the ring with his 24/7, 7-Eleven, I-95, Kentucky South, TV championship.
European Championship.
Yeah, TV European Championship. And he's like, I'm declaring myself for the Royal Rumble match, and I'm going to throw you over the top rope, Paul Heyman. And Paul's like, bro, I'm not. That's not me. That's the Brock guy. And then Truth is just like, I'm declaring myself for the Royal Rumble match.
This was brilliant, actually. So,
it was absolutely beautiful.
What began as a standard, this is Brock Lesnar. He's in the Rumble. He's gonna shit out everyone. No one's gonna do well. It's gonna be bum. Blah 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 blah. R-Truth comes in and he's like, does something rad that it completely changed what was going to happen. Let's just have a look. So let's have a quick jump in the chat as well, because Champion Gamer has jumped in and added. So Paul Heyman was getting very involved with the fans. A lot of yelling back at them, that sort of stuff. So really egging them on. So he just says Paul Heyman did the right thing, calling out the crowd for cheering along with them after making fun of them. There was a lot of "you suck" chants. After that, he got mad heat. It was great. Yeah. Something that's always confused me with WWE fans at live shows is they cheer the bad guys too much, even when the heels ridicule the town or the crowd. Yeah, no, that was absolutely phenomenal. It was great that they taunted with the whole like leaving the show and then coming back, and it was really good. Like even I was like initially I was like Paul Heyman, and then he was like calling out people, and I was like, oh. Okay, I actually hate you. So no, it was really good. Like he's right on the money there, and that's why we want to see Brock Lesnar. Like it's I was listening to After the Bell with Corey Graves, and Corey Graves is very much the same. The appeal of Brock Lesnar is he's not around as much, so when he is, it's appreciated more. Yes, I agree with that, but not when he has a championship. That means it's never seen. Now, granted, by him having a championship and never appearing, it allows the mid-card title to step up and be something of prominence, as we'll talk about in a moment. Yes. But that's like the anticipation. It actually makes it very difficult to tell storylines, which is one of the other reasons I think that they're like, in terms of the bookers, they're like, well, we need Brock involved. How do we get him involved without building up anything? We don't have time. It's next week, and we can't line up the stars to get this story between here and Rumble. It's not possible, and that's just because he's not fucking around. If anyone was there, it wouldn't be a problem. But I think I've developed some Stockholm syndrome with Brock Lesnar, because I used to hate his face, and I'm just like, yeah, look, it's okay that he's not there all the time, and but when he comes, I do pop a little bit, and like I've become apologetic. But that's the whole concept of him not being around as much. Like you don't know what you've got until it's gone, I guess. True. Craig in the chat also jumps in and goes, the only good thing about Lesnar is we get to see more Paul Heyman. Yeah, which is certainly positive, and that demonstrated here today with R-Truth. So after R-Truth comes in and demands that he gets his shot at the Royal Rumble, and then relinquishes said shot, starts dancing. Asks Brock Lesnar what's up. Tries to sing along with him. Gets F5 to shit. Brock picks up the 24/7 championship, and for a second there, I'm like, he is going to pin Truth. and he is going to be 24/7 champion.
Do a championship. Do it. That would be mad. You know what? Brock Lesnar holding that would be amazing.
It would be so weird because it would. Everyone would be so mad. Like, once again, as the champion game has said, like, that would be heat. That would be unmeasurable heat.
Yeah.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. I'd pay to see it.
Yeah. But at this stage, do you think Brock Lesnar will, like, clean up at the Rumble?
I think it's a definite possibility. But I'm not 100% sure. Like, now that I know that Keith Lee's in the Rumble.
Well, the NXT guys have been confirmed. We know that there is.
NXT, it's basically given that, like, say Keith Lee's going to be involved, especially because he's been doing so well lately.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the way he yeet Adam Cole through into the crowd.
Oh my god, it's my favorite thing.
He's a force to be reckoned with. So I'm definitely putting my money that Keith Lee's going to be in the Rumble, and I think.
That's like 3 uses of yeet today. That's impressive.
Well, it's going to get worse.
We are just down with the kids, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Got to keep relevant. But I'm hoping that Keith Lee is in the Rumble. If he is, he's going to take it. I don't think... Brock's good, but I don't think he has the stamina to outlast 29 others.
We'll jump into our Rumble predictions next week as we approach. But before we jump in there, though, Jacob in the chat does yell out and he goes, "Nah, if it's an NXT win, it's going to be Ciampa, and he is going to get his title back."
Ooh,
I'd be so down for that.
Oh yeah, of course, because
that puts the WWE main titles into a weird situation.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though. It is. WWE's 3 brands now, so we've got to remember that.
Sorry, Craig in the chat once again just adds and goes, "I typed Keith Lee yeets Adam Cole into YouTube. Was not disappointed." It's a great clip. But the big concern about, like, if an NXT person was to win, it would put these the main championship belts into this weird jeopardy, right? It's this weird sort of space of no real improvement. Speaking of no real improvement, as Jem's screen goes black, I don't know whether she's here or not, whether she can even hear me.
Still here.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Excellent, because the segue that I started was the whole idea. Speaking of belts in jeopardy, the Raw Tag Team Championships. Viking Raiders once again coming out for an open challenge. The announcer yelled it out, and then Lawler was like, "Is this an open challenge?" I'm like, fucking yes, okay. Lawler, you old fuck. Like, I hate him. I hate him so much.
I will give Jerry Lawler credit. There was a moment where I tolerated him when the crowd was chanting, "You suck." Paul Heyman was like, "My client Brock Lesnar doesn't suck," and he's like, "He sure does. He puts the suck in success." And I did laugh pretty hard at that. So, and then he just lost me straight up.
I hate him. I hate him so hard. Lawler is not good. He is not good.
No.
Like, at least when Joe was in there, Joe could then take the shit that Lawler gave out, remodeled it, and bring it out into something good.
Yep. You can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter, and that's what Joe did.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
But yeah, so they had an open challenge, as they have been, because, you know, they've already beat the OC. The Street Profits aren't doing anything right now, apparently.
Yeah. So
they open challenge, out come the Singh brothers. I'm like, oh, I know exactly how this is going to go down.
Yeah. I mean, all power to them, though. Like, it's awesome to actually see them in competition and not chasing the 24/7 championships.
But I don't care. Like, look, it's still better than random jobbers.
Yeah, exactly it.
It's random local... I'm so sick of seeing random local talent because you know what's going to happen. And look, granted, with these guys, I know what's going to happen, but I at least know who they are. And I believe that's a point of difference.
Yeah, and that makes the Viking Raiders look a lot stronger too. Like, they you know, there's actual superstars and not indie stars, I guess. You know?
That's true. Because at the end of this whole setup, they would have pretty much cleared the entire Raw Tag Team roster. Mm-hmm. If they may already have, which is impressive again. But what's your thoughts on the? Because I wouldn't say this is doing the belts a disservice. I just don't quite know where they're going.
I really think it's invalidating these belts. I feel like there's nowhere for them to go with it, and I honestly believe that the tag title belts should be like the women's championship belts, and it should be only one that cross brands.
Well, it has been done in the past.
Yeah, and I feel like at the moment, the way the tag, like, it's awesome because we do have, like, the Usos back now and stuff like that. Like, if we had one tag team, like, championship belts, like, one title to run through both brands, even though both brands have, like, I guess a decent amount now with a lot of comebacks, it's not enough. Like, there's not enough tag teams to facilitate 2 sets of belts.
All right, let us know in the chat what you think of a unified tag team belt.
Me personally, I think it would be much more exciting because then we could see like the Viking Raiders versus the Usos or the OC versus like the Singh brothers or something like that. I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see like the OC thrashing the Singh brothers or you know, I just want to see it mixed up. Like I would kill to see the Usos versus the Viking Raiders. Like that would be cool.
So I agree with you because like as it stands right now, SmackDown has a better tag team division.
Yeah.
With Heavy Machinery, Usos, New Day, Revival, it's all over at SmackDown, and like it would be great to have it all come together. I don't know how they would deliver it because even the women's tag team belts are kind of stuck right now because of Asuka's involvement with Becky. Those belts are put on a like a hiatus as well. But let's have a look in the chat because we do have some responses here. Jacob jumps in and goes, to be honest, I think they need to either unify the belt or drop them completely so that way it can go around more. So drop one of them and then have as you said, drop or unifies pretty much. Ghost of the Machine, who I didn't know was here. Hey man, 100% behind a unified belt, he says, and it gives a reason for the shows to fight. And that's good. That's totally true because like brand division is cool.
It gives validity to Survivor Series.
Yeah, and like the wild card rule, I'm glad that's gone because fuck that rule. But it would be cool to have some show versus show, like fight, but not like crossing over in that same way.
Yeah.
Champion Gamer says he's not for it, so he's against it, which is interesting.
Them's fighting words.
And then Jacob jumps in and goes, the problem I see is they might do what they did with the women's tag titles and kind of like not too well. But he also thinks, and he goes, and the Hardys are also on there, presumably on Raw when Jeff gets back, if he ever does.
Yes. But look, there's not as much tag competition as in the women's division, so I can understand why it's a little bit, I guess, like it's a little bit pushed to the side.
Yeah.
You know, with obviously Asuka being in a bigger feud and stuff like that. But yeah, I 100% think they should be unified at the moment anyway. Until there is a decent amount of tag competition to facilitate having tag titles on all brands.
Well, because as we did in the SmackDown show, we actually, we counted how many teams are on SmackDown for tag teams, and there was like 6 or 7 or something.
Yeah.
But if you go to Raw, think about it. Who have you got? We've got Street Profits, we've got Viking Raiders, we've got the OC, we have the Singh brothers apparently, we have Kurt and Zach. So I guess that's 5 or 6 or whatever. But like, barely 3 of them are contenders.
Yeah.
Whereas SmackDown, 5 out of the 6 are pretty good to go. And the AOP as well. Yeah, it's true. AOP.
That's interesting.
Sorry, Jacob in the chat. Champion Gamer says, given the fact that so many belt holders have lost matches in non-title matches, that's going to be a problem. Ghost in the Machine doesn't even know who has the belts right now, and that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could see AOP having them in the future. But at the moment, with this tie-up with Seth Rollins, I don't think that's in the picture.
But we'll get let's get to that right now. Let's get to that right now, because think about this. So Seth Rollins, as may have happened before the break, he is the bad guy now. He's Billie Eilish's bad guy. He is there. He is the Messiah of the Monday Night Messiah.
Monday Night Messiah.
I love that shit. That is so good. So good. However, the problem that we're facing right now is legitimacy as that trio. And this is the same thing the OC were battling, right? And then since they lost the tag titles and since AJ lost the United States, they've instantly become like some sort of joke trio, right? So in the same vein, once AOP decide to get into the tag team division, possibly they're the only ones to take out the Viking Raiders, I guess, right?
Yeah,
so
that's very true.
one thing that disappoints me as
And
well
I can see it happening.
is that, like, side note, Street Profits took the titles off Viking Raiders at NXT when Viking Raiders called up. Why is no one using that? If NXT is the third brand, why can't they say the Street Profits beat them for the NXT belts? Address that fact.
Yeah. I think it may come down to the shift in names when they came to the main roster. I think that's just why they avoid it, because it's just too much kerfuffle, because they went from the War Raiders to the Viking Raiders.
Yeah, but there's grounds for a feud there.
Exactly it. Well, yeah, we know. It sucks that we're not seeing it, but I think maybe it's a case of, like, I think they're building to something bigger. I think Street Profits, I feel like it's going to go Viking Raiders, AOP is going to take it, and then the Street Profits are going to get involved and take it that way.
That'd be interesting.
I think it's I think it's building into that.
AOP.
Sort of go full circle.
Here we go. The mild show in the chat. Before we, you've also totally frozen video, by the way. But you're in like you're in a nice pouty face. So it's not even like, you're making some big eyes open. Oh, there you're back.
And we're back.
So mild show in the chat goes proposal, and then we'll get into AOP. We've kind of just gone chaos tonight. Proposal, the brand of origin. No matter the current show, the rep for the first show they started on, like rugby state of origin. You could set up tag tournaments, Iron Man matches, rumbles, etc. That would be a great replacement of like some of the balls ass pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Yeah. They put that like mid-year. What's like the June pay-per-view? Oh, it's Money in the Bank. That Money in the Bank's pretty good.
Money in the Bank. Money in the
Bank. Ghost Machine adds that Ryder and Hawkins are the true champions. Champion Gamer adds in, I'm a real traditional story type kind of guy. Characters, continuity, and etc. Those things matter. Winning matches, etc.
That's what I hate, is there's definitely been a lot of like, whether you win or lose doesn't matter. Like, it does.
Yeah, but WWE matters less.
I think the problem is, like, I love a good long-term storytelling, and it just seems a bit lost. Like, I'd love to see the Viking Raiders versus Street Profits again, because that's great long-term storytelling. I love that.
Now back to our original point of what could be some long-term storytelling.
Yes.
Seth Rollins, AOP, the
AOP
Messiah.
in the mix. Bring it on. It could turn full circle. Very, very, very interesting here. Obviously with, the whole Messiah of Monday Nights. Like, it seems very, like, Jared Leto culty, and I'm all about it.
30 seconds to Rollins.
I don't know if you noticed, Seth Rollins looks very reminiscent of Jared Leto.
He does! It's so good!
I think he's channeling that in, which I love. I love that. I honestly think that Seth Rollins is onto something here, being the Messiah of Monday Nights. Like, I 100% think he's onto something. I really do. I want to see more of it.
Yeah. Because the best thing about this is even how he just confronts everyone. Like his confidence in terms of his promos. His promos seem to have more weight. Like, if anything, this is showing who the true Seth Rollins is. And because when we look back at his recent Universal Championship run, and every time he got on the mic, you could tell that these weren't his words. Like, these weren't like he was saying what he believed needed to be said as the representative of the company. And then as that didn't go over well and there was the problems, so he's now saying what he's truly thinking rather than what he feels the company should be needing him to say. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what's pushed him into this avenue. Yeah,
and it definitely gives a lot more weight behind what he's saying, because you can feel the passion in it, you can hear it in his voice, you can see it on his face.
So adding to this, last week there was a 6-man tag match with Seth Rollins and the AOP against Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, and The Big Show. So The Big Show came back. It's The Big Show.
KO Joe and Show.
Yeah, man.
The KO and Joe Show.
So he made a surprise appearance last week, and that continued into this week.
Was not expecting. Super hyped about.
Yeah, that was a real surprise, actually.
Yeah, huge bit. So this week they were put in a old-fashioned fist fight. So the whole pretense is like, it was, the people who can't compete are the losers type thing, like last man standing, basically, just with a fancy.
Yeah, so they said the rules were no DQ, no countouts, no submission, no pinfalls. It's just punching and damage until the ref says
the other team can't
nah.
stand. Yeah, which is really interesting. I'm really interested in seeing Joe at the moment. Like, Joe's just back from injury. He's on a roll. Like, last week he was the one that brought in the Big Show, and this is not something I expected from Joe. Like, the last thing you expect from Samoa Joe is to be buddy-buddy with someone. And he's just like, don't worry, man, I've got a friend. Like, since when does Samoa Joe have friends? So it's really interesting to see this different side to Joe. I love it. I love it. You know, and then, you know, having Big Show back is super, super cool. Not anyone I expected to see anytime soon. So, you know, I like being kept on my toes. So I was really interested to see how this was going to go down, especially with, like, before the match, like, Seth gave a really heartfelt chat about what he's doing and where he's at. So, yeah, I was kind of hyped about this.
So how did the actual fight go down? Because as I mentioned, this is the one thing that I missed.
So you didn't see this, yeah. So what happens, basically, Big Show comes out with his entrance first. He gets ambushed by Seth and the AOP. KO and Joe come running down with kendo sticks, start beating the shit out of everybody. So Joe and KO take the AOP. Big Show takes Seth Rollins. Now, earlier in the night, and this is interesting, Buddy Murphy had a match with Aleister Black. Buddy Murphy is ringside through 2 segments, inclum this one.
Quick shout out to Mr. Socko99 for the host there. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, thank you. Buddy Murphy's sitting there this whole time, watching this go on. People are getting belted out around him. KO did this sick flip off the screen. Like, you guys have to Google it. It is amazing. He, like, runs up the backboard and then...
Yeah, so there's a little half-pipey thing. So he kind of does, like, a transition off it, but it's his cannonball straight into the AOP. It's absolutely stunning gif. Absolutely stunning.
It was so good. And then Joe goes as far as to put one of them on a table and then flips off the stage onto that table into that guy. Absolutely demolishes them. But then the AOP do end up getting the upper hand. They put KO through Joe on the announce table. Big Show's on his own getting wrecked by Seth, like he's wrecking Seth Rollins. Seth is ringside, notices Buddy is there, and he's like, Buddy, help me, help us. And then gets back in the ring, and him and Show are fighting, and then all of a sudden Buddy Murphy with a low blow out of nowhere helps the AOP and Seth Rollins get the win. So as they're celebrating, Seth Rollins is like hugging the AOP, like grabbing their heads, having this real like heart-to-heart chat with both of them, and he notices Buddy's just standing there watching, and just puts both of his arms out, and Buddy sort of looks at them both, gets a cheeky grin on his face, and hugs him. And Seth does the same thing he was doing with the AOP. So it looks like Buddy Murphy is now a part of that. He is one of the disciples of the Monday Night Messiah now. So that was really interesting because for me, it makes me question what is doing this? How is this going to benefit Buddy Murphy?
Max in the chat just goes, no! Why?
Oh no! I mean, it's interesting because for me, but this is Buddy Murphy. Like, this is what Buddy Murphy is for us. He is the guy that's going to go and pick fights, which is what AOP and Seth Rollins are doing. They're picking people to fight with. So I think it's right up his alley.
But it makes sense because this way. So within this episode, we did see Black and Murphy 3, which is awesome. It's never fails to disappoint.
Yeah,
absolutely never.
A bad time.
But it's one of those points of where's this going to go now? Because Murphy has lost all 3. He's a shaken man. He doesn't have it.
Charlie came up to interview him, and he was just like, "Not now, Charlie." And she's like, "Buddy, please." And he's like, "Not now, Charlie, please." And she's like, "Okay."
Because that's the thing, like for him, he was the best kept secret. He was this one thing that the WWE had hidden that was so good, that was so great, that was so strong, that was just absolutely amazing. This is a former cruiserweight champion here.
Yeah.
And he's been shook. He's been rattled. So like when you're questioning who you are as a being, as a person, where you sit within this world, in this case, the WWE, you seek a higher power. And in this situation, that higher power happens to be the Monday Night Messiah. It's Seth Rollins. He reached out and offered him his hand when he needed it.
Yeah, and Seth Rollins is like, he's not.
Holy shit! Sorry.
He's not above Go on.
In the chat, Mr. Sock goes, EC3. I'm like, oh yeah, EC3's still a thing. I forgot about him. Yeah. Sorry, I keep going. But
anyway, so it's interesting that Seth is still not above asking for help either. So I guess he saw that opportunity with Buddy Murphy and took it, and that is awesome as well because that shows how much of an opportunist Seth Rollins is in this role.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't say the word would be preying on the weak, but he kind of is preying on the weak because
he's preying on the weakness, not a weak, the weakness. Like this is it. Buddy's had his moment of weakness here. He got. I just want to make sure I've said Buddy Murphy, not Buddy Watson, because.
Yeah, Buddy Murphy.
Yeah, so Buddy Murphy had that moment of weakness. He's questioning his being, and Seth took advantage of that. Yeah. Pardon me, and I like saying this because, on a side personal note. What is one thing that WWE is missing? You are frozen, but the answer is factions.
I am frozen. Hello.
Oh, hey.
Did you hear me though?
What did you say? Did you say factions? Because the answer is factions.
I did say factions.
Yeah. And this is awesome.
Or
like, we are
stables.
getting another faction, and that's fantastic. Yeah. Give me more faction.
Yeah, 100%.
The chat's just completely going nuts about EC3.
Oh, we love him.
Yeah. I remember him. He was pretty cute.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's really cool. Like, and I'm interested to see where this is going to take Samoa Joe as well, because this is not classic Joe. This is not what we know from him. So, all around, like, I'm actually really, really excited about what this is and where it's going to go.
So true, but like, so let's look at it this way, right? Okay, so who do you think would be the next person that they'd want to acquire, quote unquote?
Interesting. That's a good question.
Because if we look at it, so this because most factions. Now, Craig and I have chatted about factions before, but there tends to be a rule. You've got the champion, which in this case presumably is Seth. Thank you, Ringo Stars, for the follow. Hey, that's Kieran. Hey, Kieran.
Thank you. Thanks, Kieran.
So you've got the champion, which in this case would be Seth Rollins, because he would be kind of like the Jericho, using the inner circle as a current example.
The tag team.
You've got a tag team, the AOP. You need the big burly dude, and then you need like the up and comer, right? Yeah. So presumably,
Buddy Murphy would be
the up and comer would be Buddy.
Yeah, I'd presume so.
So who's the big burly dude they get?
Big.
Or does the AOP kind of fill that?
I think they kind of do.
Let me know, chat.
At the same time, I think maybe they could pull Eric Rowan into the fray.
Well, yeah. Rowan's doing a whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah, exactly it. All he did was get bit by his little animal in the cage.
Oh, he's a raccoon. I'm positive it's a raccoon in there. That's my prediction. It's just an angry as fuck raccoon.
Just got a little trash panda in there.
And so the Macho goes the X-Pack, if you will. So yes, this team needs an X-Pack. It doesn't have it. We need to work out who it's going to be. Chat, let me know who you think it's going to be.
Yeah,
because a good faction needs that, so that way they can split across the entire show in terms of all matches, right? So I guess because even Buddy can be that small up and comer, right? Because he is relatively new for most people. He is the cruiserweight, so he's the little guy as well. So like he hits a couple of boxes there, but he's also the big striker. So that was what made his feud with Black so good, is because they were equally matched strikers. And they mentioned that, and Alistair Black mentions that, acknowledges that this guy may in fact be my fighting equal.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who it's going to be off the top of my head. I'm trying to scratch my brain about it. But
earlier in the night, could he play a role in it?
Who? Sorry.
Mojo Rawley.
Well, Mojo Rawley now the new 24/7 champion for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't think his involvement of him getting on board wouldn't have the effect that Seth would be needing, right? You just needs someone like Drew. If you could get Drew in there.
Yeah.
Imagine if he got Drew in there.
Yeah,
that would be awesome. I think Drew's better than that. I think Drew's bigger than that right now.
Yeah, 100%.
But having him involved would be very impressive.
Yeah. There's so many ways it could go.
Let's move on. Oh, and they need a woman. A woman's a good point. Every good faction's woman. Steven goes, imagine if they got Becky.
Nah.
No, it would be awesome, right? It'd be so good.
Awesome. But I don't think so. If anybody's going to do it to cause shit, Charlotte would do it to cause shit with Becky.
Oh, yeah.
I reckon Charlotte would join the faction to get in Becky's head.
You think Charlotte's bigger than a faction?
Nah. I think a faction is what Charlotte needs. I reckon that will skyrocket.
Now, look, if we're going to put Mojo Rawley in this faction, we need some rather unimportant women. Isn't Alicia Fox still on the roster for some reason? Get her in there. Fuck it. Ruby Riott, she's got to come back soon. Put her in there.
Yeah, Yeah. No, I definitely reckon, like, I honestly reckon if anybody was going to do it, it would be Charlotte to get in Becky's head to get her a title.
Well, as it stands right now, Charlotte is she's kind of churning her wheel. She's not doing a whole lot. So this week and last week, she's fought Sarah Logan. Also,
which has been great.
Shout out to Sarah Logan. I'm so happy to see you on my television again. I have such a little soft spot for Sarah Logan. I don't know what it is. She's just does it for me, apparently.
Yeah. She's looking real good. She's looking fit.
Alicia Fox was released last year. That's right, because she was shit-faced at a house show. I totally forgot.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that obviously brings us into the fact that Charlotte was in a match with Sarah Logan this week as well, which is really interesting. Like, it was really good. Like, those two hit hard, and it was a really good match. I'd love to see more of Sarah Logan, so I could definitely see Sarah Logan.
Well, yeah, she's been having a pretty hard run on main event with, like, Dana Brooke and whatnot. And, you know, Dana Brooke had a moment to shine. I think I'm great to see Sarah Logan get in here and have a go. They did announce that both her and Charlotte will be entering the Rumble, which is brilliant.
Awesome.
So with last week, the match was, I think it was last week, maybe the week before, the match didn't actually kick into gear. Logan jumped the bell and just beat the piss out of Charlotte. So there's a bit of to and fro here. So they were both ready to rock and roll at the start of this match. Yeah. And they just went hard on one another.
Oh, yeah.
It was very good.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
But what we're here to talk about is storylines and feuds and ongoing stuff. Do we see this Charlotte-Sarah thing going any longer?
No. I think we'll see a little bit of a tiff at Rumble and that's it.
I think maybe they'll have a little beef in the Rumble as you've frozen in a not very attractive face this time, and you're back. Because this is something the Soccer mentions in the chat, and I was just about to bring it up, actually. Ruby Riott needs to spice up her character and have someone book her correctly. So what if this beef continues and then Ruby gets involved? That is her return. Or that is her return at Rumble. She comes in, helps Logan eliminate Charlotte.
Possible.
Charlotte's not coming out the winner, I can tell you that much.
Yeah. But I guess it's tricky because, like, yeah, she'd want to help her friend, but at the same time, it is seemingly that the Riot Squad is disbanded. So...
But they were they were such a good team for so long. Like, granted, Liv's now distracted. She's off doing that, which we'll get to in just a moment as well.
Yeah.
But like with Liv, she's busy. Sarah kind of floundered. Like, I thought that she would get involved with the Viking Raiders somehow. Thought they would make them some sort of minor faction. That would be a cool little trio. But that never sort of paid off. She went, and Ruby's still off injured. Actually, I'm not quite sure where she stands, actually, whether her return time is anytime soon.
Yeah. Interesting. Could go many ways.
It could be very interesting. But let's bring it to the final segment of the show for this week, was the continuation, because we can't bitch about not enough long-term storytelling, and then we have to talk about this. The Bobby Lashley, Lana, Rusev story. It's still going, still kicking.
Segment.
What else would I miss?
We've still got Becky Lynch and Asuka.
Oh, yeah.
Mysterio.
All right, we'll do this and then we'll get to Becky.
Yeah, because we've already spoken about Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black. Well, you're not wrong. Like, speaking of Liv Morgan, we do have that whole thing with Rusev, Bobby, Lana, which is just, it's ridiculous. Although it has been kicked up a notch. So tonight there was a match. It was like finally a match between Rusev and Bobby Lashley. I guess it was supposed to be the final chapter in this, but that didn't go down because during the match, Liv Morgan does come out and confronts Lana, who throws a drink in her face and throws her into the thing and starts screaming obnoxiously at her. Rusev, distracted by this, does end up getting rolled up by Bobby Lashley, who takes the win. And then backstage, Lana starts yelling bloody murder at Charlie Caruso. She's like, nobody intimidates me. How dare Liv to come out and try and intimidate me? You know what? Like, I'm putting out a challenge next week. Me and my Bobby versus Rusev and Lana. And she's going off chops, and Bobby's like, Lana, what are you doing? Like, this was supposed to be the end of this. Like, I beat him. Like, let's not do this. And she's like, I won't be intimidated by her. I won't be intimidated by you. Rah, 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 rah. Trouble in paradise. And then obviously we do see Lana and Rusev, Liv and Rusev accept that challenge. Rusev's basically like, I'm sick of it, but fine. You want it, you got it. Let's do this. much like everybody, I'm pretty done with this. I think it's dead. But at the same time, I want to see this. I want to see the mixed tag match. I want to see like Liv and Lana just beating the shit out of each other, and that's what I think the match is going to be. I honestly think that Rusev and Bobby are just going to take a step back, and it's going to be Lana versus Liv with those guys just there. And I'm all for that because both of those girls are phenomenal competitors. We just haven't seen it in Christ knows how long.
Yeah, because I'm in the same boat. I don't know where this can go from here. I feel like this is... I wouldn't say it's kind of...
Well, we still don't know how Liv is involved.
Well, our understanding is that there's a window of time where her and Lana were intimate with one another. Mm-hmm. There is a series... Like, there's some interesting tweets and stuff from Liv Morgan about that. So that's what they're implying. So they're implying that's happened, and... They've not really acknowledged it any further than that. They just it's almost like it's turned. So Liv was brought in as this ex-partner of Lana, and almost instantly it's like, no, I'm just here to fight you now.
Yeah.
What did she call herself? She goes, I'm the embodiment of your karma.
Yes.
Which I think is a good way. It's the idea of her past coming back to haunt her. So I do like that as a concept. I do really enjoy that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she's looking very reminiscent of Lana with the blonde hair and stuff. Yeah,
I do like the new look for Liv. It is more age appropriate.
She's gorgeous.
It was a little weird for her to be a juvenile delinquent at the age of 27. So I'm glad that's changed. She's 28 now.
She's a fox. I don't know whether I want to be her or be on her.
But this is the next step. Because the one thing. WWE are not letting the storyline go. It's just too big of numbers on the YouTubes and whatnot for them to let this go. So that's cool. We'll see. What might happen, right, is like there may just be like Lana and Liv going at it, Bobby and Rusev just at the side going, women, right? Like just...
That's what I said.
We'll just stand. I'm kind of agreeing with you. I'm like, maybe I'll just stand there and just like maybe they won't be chummy, but they won't be like, because like does this end with Lana having nobody? Does this end like what is the ultimate ending to this?
Yeah, and that's where I see it going.
Yeah.
I'm interested. Honestly, I'm interested to see how next week's going to go down. It actually is keeping me hooked.
Because there's the one advantage, because normally we try to like see where things are going, see what's happening. We try to like predict and fantasy book our way through it. The one thing about this, I just can't tell you where it's going. I just can't.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
The chat, they're talking about, Champion Gamer supports what we're saying in the chat here. He says Bobby is going to divorce her. Well, probably it would be an annulment at this stage because they wouldn't be married long enough
it'll be
for a divorce.
Vicious thing.
They're chatting about Tessa Blanchard winning the Impact Championship.
Yeah.
Because I don't have even a women winning it. But someone mentioned Ruby Riott is scheduled to return sometime soon. Their original prediction was January, February, so we may see her at the Rumble.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Nia Jax is scheduled to be coming back soon.
She sure is.
I hated Nia Jax at the time, but I'm also like, I'm very keen to see you.
So I watched a lot of Total Divas, and watching that really opened my eyes to Nia Jax, and I can appreciate her more. Definitely can appreciate what she's trying to do.
Steven in the chat has jumped in. Bobby Roode to be the third lover, and then Bobby Lashley and Rusev become a tag team. Best scenario.
Oh, wow. She goes from one Bobby to another.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wasn't that a bit rude? And then he comes out and just fucking socks Lashley in the face.
That was rude. And then walks out. I heard you call my name. Doing an R-Truth.
Oh, that'd be gnarly. But that's. So before we jump into the Becky and Asuka, what's the other thing that I'm missing? Because my phone.
Andrade and Rey Mysterio.
Oh, that's right. As we mentioned, the mid-card championship is still going. We have Andrade win the United States Championship at a house show over the break at the Madison Square Garden show. Oh, yeah, sorry. Bye, Jacob. I did see you before, and then you kept talking. So I was like, oh, cool, he's hanging out. So he did win it on a house show, which was very bizarre, and they've sort of been feuding in between. So in that time, there was a match where Andrade, in fact, removed the mask of
the greatest disrespect.
This is like the second or third time that Andrade has done it, and
well, no, he's tried.
He's team mask a couple times.
Really, he's actually got the mask off.
Pretty sure he did.
I think he's tried
Oh,
a few
no, that
times.
might have been
I haven't seen him
Randaddy.
pull them off.
I think Randaddy
Yeah.
demasked him.
But yeah, very, very interesting. Like, obviously, removing a luchador's mask is the biggest disrespect. So I really think that this has lit a fire under Rey Mysterio's ass. Now, it's awesome to see Andrade with the title. I love that. I absolutely love that. He and Zelina seem good at the moment, which is good.
Well, yeah, because there were concerns there that like Zelina's involvement in the matches actually may have started becoming a detriment to the pairing.
Yeah, but no, it seems like they're good. But yeah, it's definitely, it's going to be I think this is going to be a long-term, very interesting feud. Especially with, like, Zelina this week was making slides about Rey Mysterio being like a bad parent and a bad example and stuff like that, because obviously he did do that beatdown on Andrade after the match, and nicked off with the United States Championship. Apparently they had to file like criminal charges against him to get it back and stuff like that. And she's like, he's a criminal, he's a bad example to his children, this, that, and the other. So I definitely think that this has really like lit something under Rey Mysterio. People claim that he doesn't have long left, and I reckon this is going to be a very long-term, very vicious feud.
So you are cutting in and out very heavily, but thankfully we record on each side, so that's fine. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, the point that what Jem was saying, for those not listening to the podcast, is that there's, and Zelina was essentially implying that Rey was a horrible father, that he's a bad example of Latinos, because he is just being a piece of shit. He's being a criminal and doing all these piece of shitty things. So as a result, they issued the challenge for a ladder match next week, which would be fascinating. And this would be the third time they've rematched. So the one where they won, and then 2 matches since. So a standard match, which ended in the mask, and then this one would be presumably like 3.
Yeah, this will be very interesting, obviously, because it takes a lot to get up a ladder, and you've got to get your opponent fully out before you can get up. So I mean, it's going to be a very hard-hitting, very fast-paced, very full-on match, and I'm all for it.
See, the thing...
Especially because it's not on the main event, like it's not on the pay-per-view either. It is just on Raw.
Yeah.
That gives it immediate pull for me, because you don't see those matches just on the shows anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about it.
The thing that's most fascinating about this, from our perspective, is that we, for the longest time, we were like, nah, automatic rematches are dumb. I'm sick of seeing the same fights. Ooh, Andrade and Rey. Because like they deliver such banger matches. Like watching Rey go with Andrade, it's almost like you've took 10 years off him. Like I don't know what it is, just does something awesome.
Yeah, because they're even though they're not the same stature, they are very equally matched in skill set.
So how do you think?
Because they come from the same background.
How do you think it will go next week?
I don't know. And that's what I love about it, is I don't have a prediction, because it could go so many ways that there's just too many options on offer, and I just want to ride it out and see what happens.
Well, you got to remember, ladder matches, no DQs.
That's true.
So Dominic can get involved. Umberto can come back. There's a lot of mentions of Umberto. So Umberto, that's the Australian version. Umberto. So Umberto comes in. I can't roll my R's. I'm too strange for that. So like the potential for involvement from external people here is pretty impressive. I still think, even with involvement from possibly Rey or Dominic, Rey's in the match, Dominic or Umberto, I do think Andrade will still come out the win. I don't know who will go for the belt after that, but I'm more excited to see Andrade have it than Rey have it again.
I think they're onto a good thing with this matchup of the I guess the lucha style. So I wouldn't be surprised if either Umberto goes for the title, or if this is going to lead into Dominic's debut.
That would be cool. That'd be very cool.
That would be awesome.
But to have Dominic come out of Performance Center, not even in Performance Center, just make a debut and then go in the title picture, that'd be interesting.
That would be
in the chat, Mr. Socko99 asked the question, I can draw comparisons to Selena and Andrade having a tiff to when Bayley and Sasha finally had enough of each other and fought. But typical WWE just loves to troll us, don't they? Because that's true. That's totally happened. There was that 1 week that Sasha and Bayley beefed on each other, and then the next week they're like, nah, we're good.
Yeah. And that's what happens. You do get sick of people sometimes, and then you're just good with them.
But yeah, so like they dropped a little something, and they never touched it again. That's the WWE fashion. Finally, let's have a chat about the best Becky and Asuka contract signing, officiated by fuckface Lawler. He was there for some reason, incorrectly pronouncing Asuka.
He called her the Empress, not the Empress of Tomorrow, and that
small thing, but it just proves that he doesn't know stuff, and
he just doesn't
the
know
worst.
anything, no.
But yeah, so in short, Becky comes out to sign the paper. She's all gruff looking. She looks
like the Yellow Wiggle.
Yeah, as I mentioned on Twitter last week, coming out dressed up like the Yellow Wiggle. So if the wrestling game is done, Emma needs a break. In comes Becky Lynch, and we'll see her do the hot potatoes and the fruit salads. I think she 100%. Would. I think she'd rip it up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So she comes out. She's all gruff. Asuka comes out with Kyrie. Becky says nothing on the mic because Lawler gives her a moment to be like, "Hey, is there anything you want to say before Asuka comes out?" She goes, "Nah," doesn't say shit. Asuka comes out, proceeds to just yell Japanese things at her face.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Kyrie is taunting Becky Lynch the entire time with her umbrella and stuff, which Becky gets a hold of and like goes.
Hey, so they're poking her with the umbrella, being like, hey.
Yeah. And then ultimately they sign the contracts, and Asuka spits in Becky's face with a green mist.
Yeah, it's misted.
Which led into honestly the most passionate, vicious promo I've ever heard from Becky, and I was like hanging on every word she said because there was so much in that. She said along the lines of if I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go down punching, and you're coming with me. Saying something about being poison and stuff like that, and how she's poisonous, and making reference to the mist and stuff like that got in her eyes, and it was just the sickest promo that I've seen. She's blind, getting carried out, screaming into the microphone bloody murder about ripping Asuka apart, and it was awesome. My concern about this whole thing though is we know it's going to be an amazing match. Asuka and Becky, we saw an amazing feud with Asuka and Charlotte. We know that these two can put on an amazing
and we
fight.
also need to remember that this time last year, Asuka submitted Becky at the Rumble.
Yes. And that's, this is
for the SmackDown
perfect example of long-term storytelling. It's all coming full circle now. My concern with this is, where does Kairi Sane fit into this? She just seems to be a little bit of a fly on the wall who's just, zzz, and pissing everybody off, and then just back on the wall and zzz, and you're like, shit. It really is putting Asuka in this position with Becky for me. What about the tag team titles? What about them? They're just nothing now because Asuka's doing this with Becky? What's going on? Is there going to be some sort of involvement from Kyrie which gets somebody else involved on for Becky, and then that leads to them being like, hey, I did you a favor and I kept you your title, the least you can do is give me a title match thing. There's a lot that could happen. Will Kyrie be banned? What's the, I don't know. I don't know where this has come from, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I think,
but at the same time, it's coming full circle from last year.
This is how I possibly see it going. So Becky, as it stands right now, is currently the longest running Raw Women's Champion.
That's true.
I don't think that's going to be changing at Rumble in 2 weeks. I think she'll come through with the win, and that's a completion of that story. 1 year ago, Becky lost her shot.
Yes.
She had the SmackDown Women's Championship, lost it to Asuka, got into the Rumble, got back up for WrestleMania, won those belts back, right? So in this entire excellent run that is the man, the one thing that has slowed her down is Asuka. So having her come here, and
she does mention that too.
Yeah, so have the win and then continue past. That is the complete circle of the man, which is fantastic.
Definitely. And with that as well, Becky does say during her her little rant, she's just she makes nod to I'm content, I'm happy, and that's my problem. She's Asuka's got a fire under her ass. She's angry, she's mad about it, and that's what I need to be. So that was super interesting that she knows where Asuka's coming from and she's going to match that. So that was really cool as well. I think it's going to be an amazing match. I do not think that Asuka's going to take the title. I definitely think that it is going to be Becky walking out with the win. But I think it's going to be one hell of a damn match.
Yeah, because it makes me wonder, like, once Becky has taken out Asuka, like, who's next, right? Like, the only thing if you look at the women's roster, like, what's going to happen, because we have Elimination Chamber, we have is Fastlane in there? Is Fastlane afterwards?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, then Mania, right? So a little bit of time up our sleeve. So there is time to establish a new competitor for the Raw Championship, which I personally think is probably going to be Shayna Baszler. Just saying.
Yeah.
Elimination Chamber is in the middle of the year. I thought it was like at the start.
Yeah.
Because isn't that what helped Kofi get the push towards Mania? Was his shot at Elimination Chamber?
It was.
Roadblock, well, at least not last year. Roadblock wasn't last year. So yeah, so it's Rumble, Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, and then
Kofi about Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Now
because all ahead of the Rumble, all ahead of Mania.
Oh, hey guys, did you know that we spoke to Kofi Kingston?
We did. We interviewed him last year. It was awesome times. Yeah. So if anything, like maybe Shayna could be the one that brings it in Mania, especially at the Rumble, because they had a good time at Survivor Series. Shayna's
without a title now, isn't she?
That is correct.
That's on Raw.
So she's free to do whatever, and I think it would be within her interest to make the move.
Corey Graves said the same thing on his podcast, and I was like, when I was listening to it, I was like, yeah. So I definitely think, because we did see, that triple threat match at Survivor Series. It was Bayley versus Becky. It was Shayna versus Becky, and Bayley was just there. So I definitely think that this is going to bring that back into that, and Shayna's just going to be like, well, now's my time to shine.
Just putting it out there, if my opinion is very similar to Corey Graves, it means two things: I'm right, or I'm really wrong. So that's a positive.
I could definitely see that saying that.
But yeah, so like what we got here is just kind of more of the Green Mist stuff, more of Asuka doing Asuka things. Not a lot came out of this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it was very.
And it didn't need to, though.
That's true.
A good promo came out of Becky, and that's all we needed.
Yeah, it was just more of that mild setup. I still don't know why they do this contract signing things. They don't tend to land for me personally. Yeah. I don't feel they bring anything or move anything forward. It's just almost like, well, we have to have them on TV to remind people of what's happening. Let's make them sign in the ring.
Yeah.
Let me do it for me. But that brings us to the end of this episode of Monday Night RAW. Well, not too bad one overall.
Yeah.
Some good setups there. Now, we don't review them like we used to. We used to review them with Kurt Angles. Probably could do storylines, Kurt Angles. But
is this the last, or do we have another?
We have one more episode. So we'll have a SmackDown and a
Raw.
And two SmackDowns and a Raw ahead of Rumble.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So it's pretty exciting there. But this has been our Raw analysis. #Raw Anal if you're feeling edgy. This is where we break down the storylines and the feuds that the Raw gives us. This happens every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord, all the stuff in those comments below, in the down below area. But if you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/thepopculturist on your Wednesday night, where you can watch us record the show live 8 p.m. That also goes for our SmackDown in review, which happens on a Monday at 8 p.m. Tuesday morning for the pod, for those interested. But if you want to support us in a more once-off, if you want to support us financially, because my since we changed everything, my spiel's all like just bonkers at this point.
Help me, I need a webcam.
If you want to support us financially and help Jem look better in the camera, because I know that's what you'll come for. You didn't come for this mug, you came for this mug. Look at that face. You want to see that face in high definition? Damn right you do. If you support us over at Patreon at patreon.com/popculturist, support us at any dollar value. It's very helpful. The options are non-existent. We don't offer any rewards. It used to be watch the show live, but we now give that out for everybody.
Ryan might send you a nipple.
So I might give just a little nip slip, just a little one. Once again, me, not Jem. Depending on the tier, of course. We know everyone has a price. But if you want to support us in a more once-off fashion, head over to popcultures.com/shop where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. And as I said, we are on Twitch right now streaming, but we also do play the games, and we play the games every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thanks you, everybody in the chat. The one best thing about doing this show live now was we get to chat to you guys directly as we do the show, and it's an absolute blast. Like Buddy Watson, not the ex-cruiserweight champion, not the current disciple of the Monday Night Messiah, Buddy Watson. I get the two mixed up all the time. Good friend. He says, digging the layout. He's a big fan of the layout. Looks very nice. It's very, very, very pretty. But until we come back Monday night, live on Twitch, to chat about SmackDown, I'm Ryan Betson.
And I'm Jem.
We'll see you then.
Night.
The Young and the Restless, the Pop Cultures WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damien Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.